lads, we're back again. This time we're in Perth. We're in UFC Perth fight night. Prates versus JDM. Last week the lock landed. Wasn't really a great card. Aljo won as well, so we were okay. The Yaka went down and won the first fights. But look. Enough of my shit talking. Let's just get down to the lock of the week. Yes, lads. This week's lock of the week is going to be Kevin Christian. Kevin Christian. Look, to me, this is a really weird one because never in my life of making these, yet, would I have expected, of all people, to be favoured against someone who I actually think is a pretty well-rounded MMA fighter, would be of Junior Taffa. Now, read my lips. Junior Taffa is 21-40 against Kevin Christian. It's not that I think Junior Taffa is the worst fighter on the UFC roster, because he's not. But it's just he has about 2 minutes of good fighting in him, maybe 2:30. Then, honestly, most people watching this YouTube video could probably take him down and he wouldn't try to get up, because him and his brother are two of the only fighters I've ever seen to be like tortoises or like turtles. When you flip them over, they get stuck in their back and physically don't know what to do. I've never seen a fighter in professional MMA and the top promotion, realistically speaking, not actually have genuinely any idea how to get up off the ground. The Taco Tonko's fight is one that I'd like to highlight, because we will move over to the stats. I know I need to show these now or else I'll get told I just look at Topology. So I'll go over and look at the stats. Again, he's 2-5 in the UFC, so we're not exactly looking at a very high prospect quality fighter. And I should probably mention about the only loss that's on Kevin Christian's real record is, he lost to Billy and El Canada after getting caught in the first round and submitted. But again, that is aged like fine wine, and Taffa lost to him. The only wins Taffa has in the UFC are Perky Porter and Sean Scherf, and we've seen Sean Scherf in 3 fights now in the UFC look absolutely dog shit. He's lost to Taco Tonko's, Victor Walker, Rodrigo de Lima, and Billy. This is an interesting one because I'm not sure how he has a 70% takedown defense, but he does. But this is something I'd like to highlight here. 2.3 submission attempts from, Kevin Christian himself. Because if you click into, look, they don't have a very long fight time, 7:30 and 6:25. It's obviously 5-inch each advantage, 6-7 versus, versus 6-3. A year older. Of course, the striking numbers to me don't really matter because, again, Kevin Christian has had one fight in the UFC. I'm not really going to look at them. Of course, Junior Taffa lands more because he is a kickboxer by nature. But the interesting thing about Taffa is there's one thing that you'll notice inside these. 1 takedown, 1 sub. 1 takedown, 1 sub. 2 takedowns, 1 sub. There's a takedown with no sub but a knockdown, and 2 takedowns. And this Muhammad Usman fight, again with his brother, it was the same thing. But this Muhammad Usman fight, I'll show clips. This was terrible. Muhammad Usman physically just sat in half guard for the whole fight because, again, Taffa showed no urgency to get up off the ground. It's one of the strangest things I've ever seen in MMA. And again, this is what I think with the Kevin Christian fight. I think 1 takedown, 1 sub. He has very, very long legs. His arm triangles are dynamite. I can see Taffa just sitting inside his guard, being not lazy, but just, not lazy is probably the best word. Being lazy, being sluggish, being a bit slow to get out of it and getting submitted. I don't have the submission inside the betting of any of this video, but if the odds are good on it, take it. 110% submission. We'll look into this a tiny little bit more. I'll go over to Topology because I've never actually really looked at Junior Taffa's actual career. It's kind of interesting, personally speaking, because if you actually look at this from a genuine normal standpoint, Junior Taffa's 6-5 in MMA in general, and he has obviously won by 6 KOs, lost by 3. Fair enough, his last 2 have lost by that. Taco Tonko's one was genuinely terrible. Taco, I think, realised he was never going to be able to finish him by strikes, so he just quickly switched to an arm triangle. The one by leg kicks was shocking. But what I wanted to look at is what he'd done outside the UFC. So the man beat 3-4, 15-12, 4-3, and 6-1's pretty good and rising. Again, it's a non-grappler. Muhammad Usman, not very good. But actually, sorry, I just realised something to why I wanted to look at this. There's a crazy thing with his career. Is he's been favourite in almost all of these fights. I have no idea how he'd be nearly the favourite inside this fight. I have genuinely no idea how. Parky Porter, I get it. But then, Walter Walker, he was minus 110. Nearly even. Minus 110 for Junior Taffa. Okay, he was... Okay, of course, the minus 305 for that fight. The minus 245 moderate favourite against Taco Donkos. And he was the plus 220 underdog against Billy. And of course, then he is the favourite here as well. I don't know how, but this is free money. I genuinely have no idea how. I can't see Kevin Christian losing this, even if he gets caught early, even with the Billy fight. I think that one took him off his feet, but he still regained himself enough. It's just Billy was able to lock in a choke. If this happens and he lands in the guard of Kevin Christian will throw those really, really long legs up and will get the arm triangle easy peasy as you like it. But look, we'll move down to the favourites now. And I will switch over. We'll move down to the favourites here now. And we will start with Tai Tuivasa. And I'm going under. I'm going with all finishes because I think this card's going to be full of them. We'll move over to Tai here. Tai is fighting Louis Sutherfield. Look, this is the battle of who has more, juice, who has more gas in the tank. Now, who is probably the more fit fighter? That is a good question. I would like to say that Louis Sutherfield has not gone over 2 minutes in the UFC yet, and I think there's a good chance he doesn't. And Tai Tuivasa's fight time 7:41 on average. They're both 264, 1 inch reach advantage, 7.5 strikes absorbed per minute for Louis Sutherfield is very weird, and no real takedown defense, but does have some accuracy on takedowns. He will try 4 takedowns in 15-minute average. I don't know where that's come from, because that couldn't have happened in the UFC, considering the man has fought quite physically a minute 24 and a minute 48, losing to Brandon Persic and Walter Walker. Again, from watching his fights outside the UFC, Louis Sutherfield is someone that doesn't really have much of a wrestling game. He's just someone that will just try and grab your legs and just throw you to the ground. It doesn't always work. It probably won't work in a fight like this either. Tai Tuivasa, he is on a 0-6 losing streak, so this is a bit bold, but I do think Tai can actually catch him after tiring him out a tiny little bit. I think Tai actually wins this fight, but I'm not going to go 100% on that. We're going to take the under 1.5 5-6. Then we'll go with the Kevin Christian fight at under 2.5. I don't need to talk about this again. I just said all of it in favourites, so let me not talk about this again. We did move into no distance in the Jonathan McKiff fight. Now, McKiff is fighting Terzgimbo, and I'm not really sure what has happened to Terzgimbo, because he was even just basically after the Nico Price fight, he got off Vicente Luque, who was ranked. It seemed like a massive step. Of course, he got choked in 52 seconds, then lost to Jemiah Wells. Jonathan McKiff is not someone I think is absolutely brilliant, but again, he's beaten Urban Elliott by a technical choke in round 2 at 3:31. If that happens here, completely fine, as we just need no distance. I think he probably does get Terzgimbo at either a rear naked or catches him in an anaconda, but again, Terzgimbo is actually very, very active and very, very live for a knockout or a submission. They're both two fighters, very, very good at them, so we will take no distance at 5-8, and we will go under 1.5 in the Wells Schultz fight. Wells Schultz is another fighter that has a pretty odd run. I don't really think he's good enough for the UFC again, but at the same time, he hasn't gotten out of round 1 in his last 3 fights, and he's only gone to decision once, and that was against Dennis Book, of all people. But again, he's someone who either finishes the fight in round 1 or gets finished in round 1, so I can't see us going over. Ben Johnson's 5-1. Ben Johnson's coming from City Kickboxing. He has also only gotten to round 2 twice, and even if that was 3 minutes was the max, I can see a finish inside the first round here. And that's what the yak is going to be. I think this Aka pays 52 off 10, but I could be wrong. Obviously, I can't show you, but I think that's right. And we will just move into the underdogs here. Now, I didn't fully get to make all these graphics because my Photoshop crashed, but look, they're on the screen. So we will start with Shamela Geese. I was actually tempted to lock him for a very long time this week. I do think he beats Bando Perisic, but I'm not 100% confident on it. I'll throw him here because he realistically has only lost 2 great heavyweights in Waldo Teza Costa and Jerez Rosenstrike. Again, he's beaten the list of shit, is the way I'm going to say it. He's beaten Martin Budai, Dontel Mays, and Thomas Peterson. Of course, Brando Perisic is on a bit of a run, the Balkan Bear. He has taken out Elise Ellison and Louis Sutherfield, both first round finishes. He has the rise, he's on the rise. I'll go with Shamela Geese being able to wrestle here. I'll go with the Blob just being able to get probably a second round finish on the ground is what I'm feeling. I just have a feeling he's going to be able to outwork Branson Perisic as he runs in to try to get the finish with his takedowns. I think he should be able to work, and I think he should be able to land some good stuff from ground and pound. We'll move into Jack Della. Now, yes, I'm going with Jack Della. I do believe that the man from Perth, the man from Perth, the man from Perth gets this done at evens. Yeah, it's a weird one because I'm not really sure what way to look at it, because Carlos Prates and him are both knockout artists. They don't really grapple, they don't really sit. I think JDM is the cleaner boxing, the power's on Prates' side, but I think if JDM's able to stay out danger, keep the boxing crisp, he probably will be able to finish Prates. I know no one's really done that yet, but I could see it happen. With the 5-round decision, he could also just box to a clean 5-round decision. It wouldn't be as surprising. There could be takedowns mixed in, because I know Jack also do it, but this doesn't really do it too much. But I will say Jack takes it at evens. We'll go under 1.5 in the Jonathan McGish fight. Now, perfectly to me, I'm going to just say I think under 1.5, because again, as I said, he has a lot of first round finishes. Trice Gumbo has a lot of first round finishes between them. I can see a submission landing pretty quickly. Even into the late second round, I can still see a submission landing, rear naked choke or something along those lines. And then we'll go into Welsh Schultz. I'm picking Welsh Schultz because, to be honest, I don't think Ben Johnson has fought a lot. I think that he lacks a bit on the ground from what I've seen in the regional scene. He seems to be one of those city kickboxing prospects that has come in, but not really much for ground game or an MMA complete base. And even though I don't think Welsh Schultz is that genuinely good, I can feel Welsh Schultz will be able to take this, and he could be able to get it down and use a lot more of the grappling and ground submissions that he has. So yes, we'll go with Welsh Schultz, and that will finish it. That's going to be the video. The Aka should pay 52 back off 10. And anyways, if you did enjoy the video, please hit the like button or hit subscribe, and I'll see you next one. Peace.